If you've been feeling like you're on this high performance, serious about your training journey all alone, this episode is for you. And I am so excited to sit down for a few minutes and talk life. Talk about a story that we probably have in common and hopefully encourage you that one, it's okay if you're walking through this right now. I'm proud of you for having standards. I'm proud of you for having a passion that you are pursuing. And it's just a sign of you living differently and living set apart. I encourage you, you're not alone. And even though we are virtual, I want you to find community with us. Our hope is that while you are pursuing something relentlessly and going after this life seriously, I want you to know that we are here doing the same thing while we are a screen apart. You are not alone. So I hope you find that and you hear that message through my story. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to try to piece this together so concisely and simply. With that said, there's going to be a lot left out, so you can use your imagination. You can add what you want. You can hopefully add your story to this mix. I want you to hear yourself through it, whether it looks the same or not. There are going to be pieces that I think, as high performers, as people that are trying to do things well and take this life seriously, we're going to be different. We're going to feel isolated. We're going to feel that we don't relate to a lot of other people, which sometimes I think is so crazy because of how many people are on this earth that sometimes we still don't feel like we have a strong group of friends that are living this out the same. And ultimately you do. That's the part that I want to get across, that while you may live in a town that you're surrounded by people that seem like they live differently and don't have the same standards, one, we always have things in common with people. And two, your group may not be where you physically live or in the things that you are doing on a daily basis at work, in your neighborhood, people that you're seeing daily, but we are out there. We exist, and you are a part of a mission so much bigger than yourself, and it's bigger than where you are physically located. So continue on this mission. Know that we are on this journey with you together, and we are here supporting you, rooting for you, and doing it alongside you. So without further ado, let me hop in. I'm going to start at my high school years and breeze through high school and college to get me to where I am now. And like I said, there's going to be a lot left out. I just want you to hear the main points here. The seasons are what I want you to hear, that maybe you'll realize you're in a season that I was in a few years ago and see yourself moving through this as well. Okay. So in high school, I was on a team sport. I was a swimmer. I took it seriously. I was competitive, but there was no plan for me that I wanted to continue competing after high school. So high school sports, whatever the sport is, you have this shared thing in common. You have a structured sport, you have practice, you have meets, you are traveling together, you are spending a lot of time together with people who are doing the same hard thing as you. And I think that's the beauty of sports, that you get to do something hard, something uncomfortable, something that you are committed to. You signed up and you are on the roster, you have to be at practice, you have to do things you don't want to do. And so you learn a lot of really beautiful life lessons through sports, and ultimately have that structure builds community. So in high school, friendships were strong. It was a great time of life. It was not necessarily a habit of health. It was the sport, ultimately. When high school ended, the sport ended for me. And so I knew I wanted to continue working out. Cardio, of course, was my comfort area in the gym. But I began going to the gym with some friends. This was the summer after high school, going into college. And we, of course, jumped on the cardio machines. But I remember they overlooked the weight room, and I just thought, that looks like so much fun. That looks way cooler. There were some women in the weight area, not a whole lot, but there were some. And there were some lifting heavier weights too. Everything was heavy to me at that point. But I remember wanting to be a woman over there lifting weights. So I did have a few friends that were into lifting and had them bring me over, followed them along, learned the ways, and pretty quickly fell in love with lifting. It was, like I thought, way more fun, way more enjoyable. I enjoyed that challenge, and that could be from the team sports too, but I wanted challenge, even though I was working out on my own and going to a gym rather than a team practice. I wanted there to be challenge. And when you hop on a cardio machine, you can make it challenging, but I wanted something new. I wanted something that was going to get me out of my comfort zone, and lifting did it for me. It was a great time. Now, going into freshman year, I'm sure freshman 15 is still a term. I don't think that would go anywhere, but I remember really being afraid that I would be one of those that gains the freshman 15. It was the first time going away from home, and I did not want to come back on breaks and have high school friends or family think that I let loose and gained all this weight after spending a lot of time in a sport and working out, and that was never an issue for me. So I didn't want to go away and have that become a new thing for me, basically. I did the opposite. I worked out a ton. I got really into watching what I ate and did not gain weight. I think I lost weight, but nonetheless, I did not gain the freshman 15. And so came home that summer, continued working out, got more into lifting. It became something I was much more interested in that I was tracking everything I did. I still have the notebooks from that time, and they're great to look back at, just to see the things I was doing and the weights I was using. It's a lot of fun. But anyways, I was into tracking everything, all of my workouts, did not want to skip a day. So I was heavily into the no rest day type of workout style at that point. Still did some cardio, and it was definitely an all-in pursuit at that point. So when we went back for sophomore year, we lived off of campus, and freshman year too, just to backtrack for a second, we were in the dorm, or I was in the dorms, as you know, all freshmen were, and had some friends from high school go to the same college. We were all pretty innocent, so working out together, going to class together, going to the dining hall together, it was a pretty innocent freshman year. So let's move back into sophomore year, went back to school, and we were living off of campus. And so whether it was living off of campus or just being a sophomore now and thinking you're a seasoned college student, the college life picked up a bit more for, the people I was surrounded by. And I was just not really interested. I was still pretty innocent, still naive. And also in pairing with, I was really interested in the gym at this point. So not saying I was perfect, but I definitely was not interested as much as others were. And so I was not with these nicknames necessarily, but just thought of as a good girl or Miss Goody Two Shoes, boring, whatever you want to call it. It was just a season of friendships from a high starting to slowly lower because interests were changing. So a lot of my time was spent in the classroom and then at the gym, meal prepping, watching YouTube videos, reading Elite FTS and all of the articles that if you're in this field, looking back, that was just where all of this began for you too, I'm sure, or something similar. But it was full investment. So a lot of my time was spent like that. Still had friends that we'd go to the gym together. I actually ended up loving Monday through Friday more than the weekends because Monday through Friday, everyone was going to class, everyone was going to the gym, everyone was kind of living a normal life. And then the weekends would roll around, and that was when I felt that I had less friends. So it was more of a halfway friend. Like I said, friendships were going from a high slowly to a low. They were not non-existent. It was just a different type of friendship, I guess you could say. Towards the end of that year, I got a job off campus at a gym. I agreed to work the weekends there. So my weekends, I no longer really had excuses of why I didn't want to hang out. I was going to work, but I also got to hang out with people at the gym that were not a part of the campus. So they were just in a different season of life. It was totally different. It was not college related. It was a gym that people took their training seriously, and it was a great job. Loved working here, loved the people here, still talk to a lot of them today. So that was my sophomore year, still fine and dandy. Going into junior year, I was fully into powerlifting. So became not only the boring girl who was obsessed with working out, but I was now taking my training really seriously. It was purposeful, intentional training. I was competing a lot. I had a nutrition coach, a powerlifting coach. So training was a big part of my life. Meal prep was a big part of my life. And additional hobbies, I just really didn't have much interest. Between going to school and then working and training, that was what I had time for, what I had an interest for. And hence, we could say this is when friendships really dipped down. I was fully invested in something didn't have other friends that were, and was okay continuing that pursuit. I've always been someone that I love friendships. I love having people around, but at this point in my life, I see a need for friendships. I think we have, as humans, we need community. We need relationships. We need even people who are different than us. We just need that human connection. But at this point in my life, I think I was a bit more, I don't need people. I can do, I can do fine on my own. I can go to class, study by myself, go to the gym by myself. I didn't really miss it or have a hurt for the lack of friendships. It was really the first time in my life that it was not a big part of my life, hanging out with people, spending all of my time with other friends. And it was okay. It was not something that was a bad season to not have friends. I was okay with it. I think it's looking back now that I realize it's an important part of life to have friends. And let's move into, I don't remember exactly when it was. I want to say it was the summer after sophomore year. So it was this point, this transition that I was interested in working out and then really locked in on training. But I found a gym back home that was powerlifting and strongman focused. And it was like, oh my gosh, this exists. I mean, there are other people that are doing this. They're not working out, they are training, they are going to bed early on the weekends, they're meal prepping, they're going to the gym on weekends and having hard training sessions, still feeling good. They're not hungover and, trying to get through these sessions. They're taking it seriously. And that was a pivotal point. It was awesome. It was encouraging. And it was just exciting. It was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is out here, and a really fun season. Year and senior year, if I was not working off campus at the gym on weekends, I would come home. So I would, Monday through Friday, it was normal. And then on the weekends, it was either going to work at the gym or coming home to hang out with friends at this gym and to work out and be at this gym. Same thing senior year. Senior year was even a little bit more heavy into this. I think I mentioned, but I was really competing. I was, doing all of this very seriously. Sophomore and senior year were probably the hardest. Senior being hard in the sense that I really lost friends at college, partially because I was not doing a good job of finding commonalities with people outside of what I was passionate about. So I pushed people away pretty easily. Now, on the other hand of that, I'm proud of myself for staying strong with deeper values, with not wanting to really be a part of the college life. I'm proud of that, and I don't look back and regret not living differently in college because I'm so happy with where I've ended up. But there are two sides to that. One being, I wish I had just enjoyed that season of life, maybe not taken training so seriously and enjoyed having college friendships. And on the other side, being proud that I took something seriously, pursued something, remained true to values, even though I don't think at the time I could really put a name to them or understand why they were values. That's going into a whole deeper conversation of the way I was raised and just the way I saw life happening around me. But that was a year of Monday through Friday, not really having friends, going home on the weekends, having friends, but having to really live two separate lives rather than trying to mingle the two together. So senior year was actually probably the worst of all 4 years in college. Weekends were always something to look forward to now, which, talk about coming full circle. Dreading weekends because it meant I was doing boring things and other people were going out, and then to now I was so excited for the weekends because it meant I got to go home and be at this gym with friends that I now had doing the same thing as me. Okay, so let's move past college now. College was coming to an end and I was so excited. I think a lot of people were so sad, this time of life that they so enjoyed was ending, and I was counting down the days. I was so ready to be off of campus, so ready to graduate, have my degree, and move on. So that time came. I graduated, moved back, and I ended up interning at this gym back home. Stayed there for a few months. It was a great time, great season of life, interning and spending my days here. Really loved it. Really fell into the pursuit of my own training. I was training other people. Life just seemed to make sense at this point. And then a few months later, I moved to a gym in downtown Pittsburgh. Same idea though. It was a powerlifting focused gym. There were elite powerlifters there and kind of just got taken under their wings. I was just so excited to be there that it didn't matter if I was on the clock or not. I would be there literally all day. I would take the early clients, I would take the late clients. I just wanted to be at this gym. I wanted to be around these people. I didn't care what my day looked like. I wanted it to be there. So I spent a lot of my time here, found a great group of friends. Most of them I am friends with to this day. Spent all of our time together, trained together, we competed together, talked powerlifting, and collectively we just had all the same habits. So whether we would work together Monday through Friday and then Saturday and Sunday, whether we were hanging out together or not, you knew that you were all kind of pursuing the same things. We were going to be back having a good training session together on the weekends. We were meal prepping. It was just, we were all pursuing the same things and doing something hard together, like with like-minded people. It was a really, really great season that brought along great friendships that have been lasting. Ultimately met Cody at this gym, my husband. So it has been such an amazing journey. It's awesome now to look back and see the path of it. So I just want to encourage you that no matter what you're pursuing, if you are pursuing something, if you're choosing discomfort, if you're choosing discipline, that's not going to be widely enjoyed. You're going to inevitably separate yourself from the crowd, but I promise you that you're going to find the people that matter. Sometimes the journey won't make sense. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have some whoopsies along the way. I certainly did. There are moments, even during that good season, I look back and go, whoa, I could have done that way differently, or that was a huge mistake. But I can't take that back. I can't go and change anything. I can't let that change what is going on today. So I just want to finish with a few words of encouragement, which I started to mention here. But firstly, I would not change anything. Even the lonely Friday and Saturday nights, even the mistakes I made once I was in a good friend group, you're going to sift through that season. You're going to have all of that happen. And eventually you're going to find people that mean the world to you, and you're going to see the path. You're going to be able to look back and see it all together. I'm proud that I had a passion that I was really passionate about and strong enough to keep me focused on what mattered. I think the most common reason people fall off track of whatever they're doing is because there's not enough meaning. There's not enough why to what you're doing. You have to have a stronger mission. You have to have something that is keeping you grounded, keeping you fixed on something bigger than yourself. There has to be something bigger. And when you do have that, everything else is going to kind of fade around you. It's not going to be as noisy. It's maybe not going to make sense in the moment, but you're going to be so focused that you don't hear everything else around you. The last thing, and this is somewhat mentioned before, but without lowering your deep core standards. And like I said, in high school, I didn't really have deep core standards. Even in college, I think I'm still trying to figure out what matters. But you're going to eventually have some deep core standards. And if you haven't thought about them, I would encourage you to think about them. But once you do know them, without lowering those, remember that you have more in common with other people than we sometimes like to think. We get in our own bubble, we get very focused on a goal or on whatever we're pursuing, and we kind of block out the world. I don't know if that's everybody or if this is us, people that are very focused on performance and doing things well. I think we definitely, I know that I do, have a tendency to forget about what else is going on outside of what pursuit I am on. I think that's a good thing. I think there are benefits to that. You stay locked in. You're not swayed based on what other people are doing or what they're thinking. You are locked in, but it is good to remember that there are other relationships out there that can matter too. You're inevitably going to have deeper and longer lasting relationships with those that you have shared hobbies and habits. So that's okay. That is perfectly fine and more normal. You're going to have some relationships that naturally come to an end. Like I mentioned within college, they sort of just naturally faded out. Those are typically going to be the ones that maybe you had a shared habit and now you're walking away from that, and that was the habit that brought you two together, and so that friendship will naturally change and maybe fade out. But you're also going to have relationships that your commonality is not a bad habit that you're removing. It is simply one that You have different passions. And so I would encourage you with those friendships, lean into what they're passionate about, be interested in them, and continue your shared standards alongside each other. Lastly, if you're unable to find this community right now, I would encourage you to go to the places where these people will hang out. Put yourself into these situations, and you're going to begin to find people. Don't let yourself live in this season of isolation if you don't need to. You are going to be set apart. You are going to have less strong friendships when you have stronger standards, but don't let that be an excuse to not find friendship and find community. Seek it, create that culture, be the leader, set your standards, walk out your standards, lead those standards. You're going to find your people or help be a part of creating that culture wherever you are. Be patient though, also. Don't settle. Keep your standards high. And remember that we are here for you. Whether virtually or not, we are doing this with you side by side. And I remember that being a huge factor for me, just knowing that other people were out there doing the same thing, knowing that on a Friday night, I might be at home and people I know are on my social media, they're out doing different things that I'm not interested in, but knowing that there are people going to bed early, walking through these standards, living this out on a daily basis, just knowing that it exists was so helpful. Would love to be your friends and walk alongside you while we live out these standards with you. So remember, be authentic to who you are, work hard, and keep on relentlessly pursuing whatever that passion is for you. We're proud of you pursuing that. Keep on working at it, and subscribe, head to our page, follow us on Instagram or YouTube, and we'll talk to you soon.